Well, I'm not sure Todd McFarlane needs an introduction, but I think he certainly deserves one. So let's get into this. Not only is he multi-talented, but there are many facets about Todd that you're going to learn as we move along. For example, he's not only one of the top artist writers in our business, but he's also something of an entrepreneur. He's going into a new business where he's producing his own trading cards, which he'll tell you about later. He owns a comic book store, which is not a bad thing for a guy in the business to do. He's a baseball player. He used to play, and I think still does, with a Pac-10. I'm sure a lot of you know what that means. He explained to me it's 10 teams in the Pacific League. And on top of that, he's one of the most dazzling talents in the comic book business. And now, since I've given him that magnificent build-up, I'm sure that he'll be real nice to me and be an easy guest to interview. And without further ado, because I don't have much ado to spare, here he is, the one and only Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane started off as a comic book artist, working on books like Spider-Man. In 1992, he left Marvel along with 6 of the best-selling artists at the time. Todd McFarlane was the only creator who was rarely late with his own assignments on his character, Spawn. I may joke about how aggressive and over-the-top he seems, but the man is driven and an inspiration. I should really take his lead more often to better this channel. Anyway, eventually he wanted to create action figures of Spawn, but he hated what the big toy companies were giving him in return. So, he decided to create McFarlane Toys, which is still around today. As of this video, McFarlane's licenses include Spawn, DC Multiverse, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Avatar: The Way of Water, Critical Role, and My Hero Academia, just to name a few. In 2019, McFarlane had the license for Harry Potter and released 4 7-inch figures and 2 creatures before completely squandering the license and left Harry Potter fans SOL. The 4 figures were Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, Ron Weasley, and Lord Voldemort. The creatures were Buckbeak and the Hungarian Horntail. I must admit that by the time Horntail was released, we weren't really interested in the line anymore. Anyway, the figures are your average 7-inch figures with a few accessories. A stand for the figure with the background, wand, and the kids' Patronuses. Voldemort comes with more of the same and Nagini the Snake. Buckbeak and the Horntail come with a stand and pole. Let's get Buckbeak out of the way. He's a figure of a hippogriff from The Prisoner of Azkaban. He is way too small for the 7-inch figures, but I guess it could work as a kiddie ride. Now, I don't have the Horntail, so I can't talk about him as I see it right in front of my face, but it's gonna be more of how I remember seeing it. I was not impressed with the colors, and the pole for Buckbeak was a huge fail. It was no different with this dragon. This was the last figure to be released. It would have been nice if they spent their energy on 4 other 7-inchers instead. Maybe Albus Dumbledore, Severus Snape, Draco Malfoy, and Dementors for army building. But no. Instead, we get a 2 small horse hen and a tiny dragon. Yippee. They could have made Buckbeak vehicle-sized and it would have been 100 times better. I mean, they did it with the Sky Bison in the Last Airbender line. Starting with Lord Voldemort, he comes with the Elder Wand and Nagini the Snake. The background that comes with Voldemort looks like it's a bunch of lightning magic stuff in red or orange, but you can faintly see Hogwarts in the background, so this is probably the last battle or whatever. Voldemort's face isn't too bad, but he does kind of have this concerned look. His robe is soft goods, but it's a bit on the stiff side and really should have been made from something that drapes good. You know, like Batman or Bat-Mikey from the Diamond Batman vs. TMNT line. The sleeves are held in place to his wrists with elastic. It's alright, but it could be better. The wand is an alright representation of the Elder Wand, but it keeps bending and I keep dipping it in hot water. It doesn't help that the grip on old Voldy is crap. I know what's on everyone's mind. What's under the robe? You dirty dog, you. Did they sculpt tidy whities, boxing shorts? No. He has a ballet leotard. He's pretty graceful like that. Now we can take a look at Nagini the Snake. This thing looks cool. Then you start to think, why bother making it articulate when the belly starts to go all over the place? Nagini really should have been a statue or a slug. Well, next up is Ron Weasley. He has a stake for Dracula and his Patronus, a dog. Ron's background is Tomes and Scroll, which was a specialist bookshop in Hogsmeade. His face is barely passable. I mean, he looks like an old woman with a bowl cut.
Is there a spell for my missing teeth, Sonny?
I do love his outfit, but there's a lot of cuts on the figure for the articulation. This takes away from the figure, and this goes for all three of the Hogwarts students. The wand looks like a stake to drive into Dracula's heart. It doesn't look like Ron's wand. The grip is not that great either, and the wand wants to pop off. The Patronus is really nice looking. It's like a ghost figure, and it's very solid. It comes with a clear post and a stand. These things are cool. After Ron, let's take a look at Hermione Granger. She has her wand and Patronus otter. Hermione's background is the Room of Requirement. Her face isn't 100%, but it is probably the best in the line. My biggest issue is that there is a very deep line above her upper lip. Once I saw this in one of the photos I took, I could not stop looking at it. I love the way they made her outfit. The color choices hide the hideous articulation cuts into plastic. The wand looks great, and it even comes to a point. The Patronus is also very, very nice. And finally, the main figure everyone wanted until they saw him in person. Harry Potter. He comes with Draco Malfoy's wand and Buck Patronus. His background is a wall with undesirable #1 posters. Harry's face sculpt is awful. What's with the extra shaggy eyebrows?
But he has shaggy eyebrows in the movie.
Not like this. The clothing looks like garbage. It's so rough. And look under the arms. Look at the arms when they come up. What the heck is that? The other figures don't have this problem. The wand is a huge disappointment. The tip is flat, the wand is fat. Why couldn't they learn from Hermione or the Elder Wand? Oh, I forget that since Hermione is female, she needs to have a dainty, skinny wand. The posters on the background are placed in the middle. You know, like in real life. We place posters at waist level, not eye level, so when taking a photo, the posters look awkward. The Buck Patronus does look good as usual though. have to talk about articulation in one go because I found myself writing the same thing for all the figures. These figures have very typical articulation for modern figures, but I'll point out the strangeness. The figures all have deep cuts into them to allow for articulation, except for Voldemort, who is just a regular male body type. The sculptor didn't even bother to blend this in, but looking at other figures from different companies, they blend the articulation good enough, but with these, it's almost like they ran out of time or something and they went for the first sculpt. They just cut straight across. At least it would seem that way. The legs come out at the crotch, but it's a very antiquated and out-of-date technique. It's very ugly. Voldemort's articulation is okay, but he creaks a lot. Heck, they all creak a lot. I know that Voldemort was 70 around this time, but the students were young. They shouldn't creak this much. Posing Voldemort is pretty lame because he has this uninterested face. You have to really fight with these figures to get them to stay. This Harry even has loose feet, so the stand doesn't even help. Around this time, McFarlane was making his DC figures, and guess what? They do not look like crap. I don't know, it just kind of feels like he was playing favorites if you ask me. These feel like his older lines. The garbage paint is back in full force, and the crap face sculpts. They are comparable to his Stranger Things line, and just look at what they did to my girlfriend Barb. She looks like an old lady. I mean, she never looked very modern, but oh my gosh, at least she looked really nice and not like this. If you ever wanted to see the definition of a cash grab in action, then look no further than McFarlane Toys' Harry Potter. Oh, and then after they were done with this, they still had the line for, I don't know, a year or two, and they released 0 toys. I mean, what's up with that?